John's hands trembled as he fumbled with his car keys outside the convenience store, his mind still processing the devastating phone call he'd received minutes earlier. His father had collapsed at work, and the hospital needed him there immediately. He threw himself into the driver's seat and sped down the empty suburban street, his heart pounding with worry and fear. 3 blocks away, a weathered German Shepherd mix lifted his head from a pile of discarded fast food containers behind a gas station. The dog's ribs showed through his matted brown and black coat, and a deep scar ran across his left shoulder, a reminder of the night he'd been dumped from a moving pickup truck onto the highway shoulder. But something had caught his attention, a scent carried on the evening breeze, familiar yet impossible. The dog abandoned his meager meal and trotted toward the main road, his nose working frantically. Years of surviving on the streets had sharpened every sense, and this particular combination of aftershave, leather seats, and something uniquely human made his entire body go rigid with recognition. John barely noticed the movement in his rearview mirror as he turned the corner toward the hospital. His phone buzzed with another urgent text from his sister, and his foot pressed harder on the accelerator. But as he glanced up at the mirror again, he saw something that made him slam on the brake so hard his seatbelt locked against his chest. A dog was running behind his car, not just following but chasing with desperate determination, his tongue hanging out and his legs pumping with everything he had left. Even from this distance, even after all these years, John recognized that distinctive gait, the way the dog's left ear flopped while the right one stood erect. "Max?" The word escaped John's lips as barely a whisper. John pulled over and stepped out of his car, his legs unsteady. The dog slowed to a cautious walk, sides heaving, but never took his eyes off John's face. They stood 20 feet apart on the empty street, man and animal studying each other across a gulf of 3 lost years. The dog's appearance shocked John into silence. This wasn't the healthy, well-fed companion who used to sleep at the foot of his bed. This was a survivor, lean and scarred, with eyes that had seen too much. But when John crouched down and extended his hand, the dog's tail began a tentative wag. "Max, is that really you, boy?" At the sound of his name, the dog's entire demeanor changed. His tail wagged faster, and he took several quick steps forward before stopping again, as if afraid this moment might disappear, like so many dreams during cold nights in abandoned buildings. John's phone buzzed again, another call from the hospital, but he ignored it. He took a step closer, then another, speaking in the same gentle tone he'd used during their evening walks years ago. "I looked for you everywhere, buddy. Every shelter, every street. I never stopped looking." The gap between them closed slowly, carefully. When Max finally pressed his nose against John's outstretched palm, the familiar warmth and texture of his owner's skin triggered something deeper than memory. His tail wagged with increasing intensity, and for the first time in 3 years he felt completely safe. John's hands moved carefully over Max's coat, checking for injuries, feeling the weight loss and the new scars. "What happened to you, boy? Where have you been?" Max leaned into the touch, his body remembering the comfort of human affection. He had no way to communicate the theft from the backyard, the months in the puppy mill, the escape, the abandonment, or the endless search for food and shelter. But his eyes told the story of survival against impossible odds. As John lifted Max into his arms, surprised by how light his old friend had become, his phone rang again. The hospital. His father. The emergency that had brought him to this exact place at this exact moment. "Looks like we both need to get to the hospital, Max," John said, settling the dog gently in the passenger seat. "Dad's going to be so happy to see you." Max curled up on the familiar upholstery, his body finally relaxing for the first time in years. As John started the engine and pulled back onto the road, the dog rested his head on the center console, close enough to feel his owner's presence. The scent that had driven him to run through traffic, that had made him chase a moving car with his last reserves of strength, now surrounded him completely. The reunion that had seemed impossible just moments before was real, permanent, and unbreakable. After 3 years of searching, both man and dog had found their way back to where they belonged, together. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe for more amazing animal moments. See you in the next tale.